Hello, inflation fighters. Thanks for joining me today. A little bit of a different hairdo. It's not up today, it's down. I might change my mind about that later, but it is what it is. And look at different specs with two working functional arms, which is really, really nice. Just a little bit of everything today. Last night, the queso dip that I made was fantastic. But again, you always have to tweak things. And I realized, even though the ingredients are very simple, it's just a block of cream cheese, a handful of tomatoes, green chilies, jalapenos, and I use the pickled ones that you get in a jar. You can use the fresh ones if you want, but I just find there's something about the brine in there that makes the dip pretty tasty. So, and I did use the fondue pot for that instead of, remember we had talked about, I wanted to get a smaller crock for things like dips or whatever, because I didn't want to use the big one. It's the big one you just is a pain to put in the dishwasher and use. So, but it worked out just fine. And it really, let's see, you get, a range of temperatures here, because with a fondue pot, you can actually cook food besides cheese. You can put oil in there or beef broth or things like that and dip meat and bread, fish, anything. So I love it. I'm so happy I found it again and pulled it out, because it's really working out good. So that's that. If any of you have been using Fetch, they have an option on there that you see when you open their app to do e-receipts, which is things that you get to your email, and then of course your paper ones that you get. I have not been able to get my grocery receipts scanned for like our medicines and such. And I don't know if it's because the app that I use for that store sends you, like, every time you place an order, it's like 5 emails you get, so there's just a bunch of them, and I don't know if that's the issue. But trying to find a customer care number to be able to talk to somebody about the issue is impossible. I didn't even see an option to send an email to these people. So what I did was I went to the page, the channel of the people who had been, I don't want to say pushing this, but they had offered a promo with it. So, and I just left them a message and I said, obviously, since you worked out this promo deal with them, you must have a contact number or something. So if you could give that to me so I can resolve the problem I'm having here, because that is where I get our medicines from. So, I don't know what's going to happen with that. So hopefully I'll get an answer soon. Also, I've had other issues with apps, grocery store apps or things like that too, where, there's no clarity on the app about who to get a hold of. We did a small Walmart order last week, and there was all kinds of problems. They didn't tell me, except for when I was on my way there already, that they were going to substitute items or they were out of things. And that makes it difficult, because now I gotta, if I need it, then I'm kind of out of luck, because I can't get it unless because I'm not capable of walking through the grocery store yet. If I fall down, I can't get back up. And even though there would be people around to help me, I just don't want to go through that. So, that's the issue there. But anyway, so you can end up, so I called them as soon as I saw that because I couldn't get in there to change anything anymore or to even know what the items were. So I called them like 5 times. Now this is Walmart, okay? And I could not get a person the first 4 or 5 times. I even called like the pickup department and nothing from them. So you have to be, we kind of made a decision that we're going to buy our meds 2 months out. Now there's no, like, there's not been a news story like medicine is in short supply or things like that yet. And I say yet, there's an asterisk, because you never know what's really going on. It's like with the candy thing with Hershey's. It's like 3 months before Halloween. Why are we talking about there's going to be a shortage? You got time to do things. So I don't know. I don't run a corporation, so I can't answer that question. But so we're going to keep a 2-month supply. It's all over the counter stuff. It's nothing, you know, it's like pain medication, allergy medication, nose sprays, supplements, you know, things like that. So at least we were able to get it somewhere else, but I just don't want to run out again and being stuck in a position where it's like, damn, I got to go without it today because I have to make another order somewhere else for these items, or it might be a weekend. And Amazon you can't even rely on anymore. Speaking of which, when I had my business, I had Amazon Prime, which I still have because I paid for the year up front. And they're sending me all the time new things, new features. Like I've got this thing where I can read free books from just using Prime. Now there is Kindle Unlimited, right? That exists. But there are books you can read, excuse me, allergies are bad today, that you can get that have, you know, it doesn't cost you anything. It's just included in your membership, just like certain movies are and things like that. But I got a notice today that music and podcasts were available for Prime, through Prime. So I'm gonna look at it at least and see what's there. So make sure that you know, look at all your benefits that are out there. They don't deliver. I mean, it used to be the big thing, right? It's like 2-day shipping, blah, blah, blah. Nah, that doesn't happen anymore. I mean, it's a good, even if you order on a Monday, it could be Thursday or Friday before you get your items, you know, so take that for what it's worth. And also, I'll just want to mention, if there's something you can't find at the grocery store, check Amazon. They're not the only sellers. There's other sellers of things on there, so you're not necessarily just giving your money to Amazon if you have issues with that. But anyway, so that's that. I had a memory this morning when I was praying, and it was about my grandmother Joyce. Now, she grew up during the Depression, raised 9 kids on a farm. And I think I mentioned that my grandfather worked at a paper mill, so he was working and running the farm. So they always had food to eat, and they always had money to pay bills and such. One thing that they used to do was, well, it was my grandmother. On your 10th birthday, she would let you sleep over the night before, and then the next day, it would just be you and grandma. And that didn't happen very often. 9 kids, you can imagine the amount of grandchildren and everything, so it just didn't happen. So she purposely set aside the 10th year for us to do things like that. And it was special. Oh God. That day that I stayed, we ate at Kroll's, which was a restaurant It's still a big restaurant in Green Bay. And at the time, that's where I was living when I was growing up. And, excuse me, so we went out to eat for lunch, and then we went to shop. And she bought an outfit for us for school. And then after that, we went to Bay Beach together. And this was the only time my grandmother went to Bay Beach. Now, Bay Beach is a small amusement park in Green Bay. And she loved to go on the Ferris wheel. Now, at that time, when I was 10, I didn't mind going on it. Now I wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole. But back then, this was like the only chance she got to do that was when she was with the grandkids this way. And one-on-one time was important. And shopping for the school outfit, we went to Montgomery Ward's. And I can't believe the outfit I bought. It was butterscotch colored pants. Well, I didn't buy it, I picked it out. Butterscotch colored elastic waist pants with a cream colored top and a sweater vest. It was a short sleeve sweater with a belt. And then, she bought me some personal products. I got my own shampoo. Didn't that make you feel special as a kid? Like, I used to love it because at Christmas time we all got a shampoo, a comb, and something special. So, but what impressed me about my grandmother was that for all of the grandkids that she had, and they were not wealthy, and they had 7 girls and 2 boys, so they paid for 7 weddings. And in fact, my mom's wedding and one of my aunt's weddings were only 4 months apart. Now, they were gonna do, my mother had said, well, let's just do it together. It'll save some money. I mean, it's just 4 months, but my aunt wanted her own wedding. And I can't really blame her, honestly. And I think it's nice that my grandmother did that for her. When Elvis Presley passed away, he was one of my biggest idols. I really liked him a lot. And she got me his one of his Christmas albums that year for Christmas. And I just thought it was the coolest thing. She was just such a neat lady that way. And then after we got done shopping, we went to the Bay Beach. Then we went to just a waterfall park, which was really beautiful. It was so nice. And then also once a summer, she would have just the older girl cousins stay. So there were 4 of us. And because I was born, 5 months after my cousin, who was the oldest cousin in the family. So, I mean, it was a big deal. But we always get yelled at. My grandpa would come to the steps, he'd either get home from work or was going into work. And he'd be like, girls, time to go to sleep. He just wanted us to shut up. So, but he was a good provider. And I'm really just thankful for these grandparents. When you don't grow up wealthy, because I didn't, and they didn't, but they made a way. They found a way to be able. Now, Bay Beach was really cheap when I was a kid. It was like 10 cents a ticket to ride on any ride. Except for, I think, the Scrambler. That was 2 tickets. But, I mean, it was so cheap to do it. And, but she saved up, to be able to do those things. We don't do that anymore, do we? In our society, we have enough money, or we use credit cards, and there's no planning really involved in that. So, but she was a good example of making sure, even though she wasn't wealthy, everybody got the same, and that was really important. So I think about this with my son. often, especially right now because I can't do a whole lot. But I think, God, he must just be so bored being here. He's just hanging out with mom and dad, and I mean, he's got friends and such, but I mean, when he's home, it's just us. It's nothing exciting. But my son is, he's pretty mellow too, so if he gets bored, he'll go for a drive or he'll do something like that. So anyway, just wanted to share some memories with you and see how it applied. Then I want to share I wouldn't call it a mantra, but it's something that I saw. And it's about the progression of actually spending money. So you first try to get it for free. Then you try to get it for dirt cheap. Then you can buy it for cheap. And then you can buy it and pay full price. So it's a progression. If you really desperately need it, then you're going to have to do what you have to do to make it happen. But I like it. I like that saying, and I look at it every morning now. Just because I think we've just become too focused on money here. And I don't think that it's fair about a lot of things that have happened to everybody in the last 2 years, but it's probably a good recalibration for people who are good-hearted and maybe just got caught up in the ways that things were happening. So they were caught in a surprise moment and left with hardly anything to get by with. I mean, I see it at the food banks, people pulling up in nice cars, but they can't eat. I mean, we all need to have a vehicle, but this is why we went down to just one, because it's like, well, obviously I can't go anywhere or do anything. My husband has a work vehicle that he uses for service work, and so we don't, most of the time it just sits here unless we go for a drive or go run an errand or something like that. So anyway, I just wanted to share these things with you. So I hope you're well, be blessed, and know you're taken care of. Bye now.